Hello everybody. In this video we're going to be looking at property binding feature in JavaFX. Let's run this example. The result of this program is a circle drawn in the center of this kind of window. The size of the window is 200 pixels in width and 200 pixels in height. And the circle's location, well, we don't know exactly at which point it's located. We didn't give any numbers, but its radius is 50. Well, we can see that it's right in the middle. So if I change the size of the window, we can see that circle always stays in the middle. However, we want to change it. Let's make it bigger. It's always in the middle. How this is happening? The property binding is a kind of like communication between different values in the program. For example, the height of the pane, or the scene, we have the height of the scene, we have the width of the scene, we have the center x and y coordinates of the circle, and every time I move the corner of this window, the height of the scene changes, or the height of the stack pane changes, the length of the pane changes, the width. Each time the height changes, we kind of like telling the circle center x to adjust, right? So let's say here at this point it's like 400 pixels, so the center x is going to be, or sorry, center y is going to be 200 pixels. I change it slightly, now it's like 390 pixels, it's going to be 195 pixels. Now it's like 100 pixels, it's like 50 pixels at this point. So each time the height of the scene detects that it's changing, is going to tell the center's x-coordinate to change. We write this as a code like here. So the source of the information is going to be the height of the pane. So we get the height property of the pane, and the y-coordinate of the center of the circle depends on the height of the pane. It's actually always going to be in the middle, right in the middle. So the y-coordinate is going to be always divided by 2. And this is going to be the target. This is going to be the source, the height, and the y-coordinate is going to be the target. This is an example of property binding. It's a wonderful feature to make your applications more dynamic. And let me open my Paint application. And we said that we have the source object and the target object. I'm going to mark them as S and T. And the source object acts like a source of information. And the arrow is going to be like this. From S, it's going to go to T, right? Whenever the source property changes, it's going to affect the target property. So in order to be a source and a target, like these are kind of different jobs to do. Here you just need to read, we just need to read from the source. The target should be able to write, should be able to be written, in other words. So in order to be able to read from some property, it needs to implement the observable value interface. In order to be a target property, a property should implement the property interface. I'm going to just write it as P. Also, since property interface kind of like doing a little bit more than just being a source, you also can read from it, and if a class or a property implements the property interface, it also can act as a source. So another example is when we have a target on the left and target on the right. So when this T changes, it's going to affect this T. When this one changes, it's going to affect this T. This is called bidirectional binding. When you have bidirectional binding, both of the properties should be implementing the property interface. So we can say that if a property implements a property interface, it can both be a target and a source. But being a source requires your property to implement only observable value interface. So here we have another example of binding. So this is a simple Java application. As you can see, we have the main method. So we created 2 double properties. This is an abstract class. We can't create an object of this class. This is a concrete subclass of this abstract class. So that's why we use this class as the actual type. So D1 and D2 are going to be simple double properties. Simple double property is a property that implements the property interface. It means they both can act like a source and a target. So we bind D1 to D2. It means D2 is going to act like a source. Whenever D2 changes, it's also going to affect D1. So we're printing the values of D1 and D2 at this point, and then changing D2, it means D1 also should change. Let's run and see this, the result of this program. As we can see in the result, first system.println gave us 2 and 2, and the second one gave us 70.2 and 70.2, which is what we expected. Now, let's make a little bit of a change in this code. Let's try to change D1. We're going to change the value of D1 to, let's say, 20, and then copy this line down to see what's going to happen. When we bind two properties, this D2 in this case acts like a source and D1 acts like a target. It means D1 should not change, right? Because it is listening to D2's changes. So when we try to change D1, we're kind of like breaking the rules, and when we run this program, we're going to see a runtime error. It's going to tell us a bound value cannot be set. To fix this one, to be able to make changes in both directions, we need to fix this code. So we need to just duplicate it, and then here we need to write bind bidirectional. And if we run this code this time, everything is going to be working correctly, and the change is going to be in two directions. Thank you guys for your attention. See you guys in the next videos.